5. Thirst. Told you there'd be more Halloween, and this one's even lamer. We've had our witches, now it's time to suck. With vampires. Besides wasting your one-time Carrie Fisher appearance, this is just a really bad homage to, well, I think it's kind of obvious what it is. What's your name again, main villain?
Meet Buffy Saunders, president of the Tri-Psi sorority. By the way, I've changed the names to protect the vapid.
Oh, you're so cheeky and self-referential. God, I hate this episode. And of course, in typical Smallville fashion, is this actual vampirism? No, it's actually rabies. Powered by kryptonite.
Kryptonite. It makes everything stupider.
Breathe it in. There's hints of vanilla and cyclamen.
Yes, it made that stupider too.
Once again, we pull out not only all the cheap horror tricks, but all the cheap, exploitative, sexy teenager tricks. Look, I know it's a Halloween episode, so you weren't trying very hard, but please try to convince me you wrote this with more than one hand.
It tastes so much better than pepperoni.
Or, God forbid, some other appendage.
Thirst. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling dehydrated. Number 4. Harvest. More Halloween goodness. Clark and Lois are stranded out in the boondocks and encounter a weird cult centered in a cornfield. Yeah, we're going there.
I'm sure those were powerful images, but there are many ways to interpret them.
And of course they're going to sacrifice Lois because of their backward thinking, and Clark has to save them even though there's lots of kryptonite around. Oh god, it's lame Smallville on top of lame Stephen King. All this fire and corn, and this is the closest you'll ever come to a popcorn flick out of this episode.
Every lame cliche that has ever been done about a backwoods cult, this does. Every lame cliche that has ever been done about small town with a dark secret, this one does.
That's really the problem this show had by the end is, unless they were doing grand mythic stories, they were just doing lame comic stories or standalone stories that were just rip-offs. This was not Smallville at its best, people.
In trying to do something different, they only did something just as predictable, only out of a different genre playbook.
Harvest. Nebula?
It's not ripe.
Thank you. Number 3. Rabid. Yet again, it's Halloween time. Let's all kill ourselves.
Oh, but wait. Before you can kill yourself, you have to come upon someone who's facing away from you. What could be wrong with them?
In the midst of a zombie plague, here's someone I know whose back is turned and they're sitting there completely still. I'd better go grab them. Oh look, here's another one. I'd better go grab them. Oh look, here's another one. I'd better go grab them. Yeah, that's pretty much the episode, and then we make it rain at the end. Yeah, we literally rain the cure on people. Because no one's going to miss out on rain. You know that every time it rains outside and everyone gets wet somehow. This was something Smallville did a lot of, even in their better stories. Massive disasters that affected, if not the entire city, the entire world, and yet somehow we're able to hit the reset button and no long-term damage. In stories like this, everyone's happy at the end. People had to have died in this. You're not even going to mention that? You're just going to... They were in the opening credits, so la 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 la. This bothers me in any TV show. Star Trek, Smallville, it doesn't matter. No-name people still matter. They're only no-names to you, not to their own loved ones.
And if anyone should understand that, it should be Superman. Rabbit, this episode just needs to be put down.
Number 2, Fortune. Oh God. It's this one.
Ding, ding.
So, while Darkseid and his accomplices are rising on the Earth, we're all going to go out and have ourselves a bachelor party. And then we'll have wacky shenanigans the morning after.
You know, if you actually did want to see some DC wacky shenanigans, you know what that's called? Great brain robbery!
Whoa.
Ah, but our wacky shenanigans involved characters hooking up who'd never hooked up before that you wouldn't have expected.
Ahem.
Rest in here, darling.
Hey, that's not restful.
This episode sucked.
Oh.
And the number one most egregious Smallville Effect episode of Smallville is not an episode at all. It's the entire Season 7 subplot of the Veritas Society. Yeah, I know this is kind of a cheat because it's an entire season, but the entire season-long subplot is a ripoff of a certain series of books that were big at the time. Of course, they're completely dated and forgotten now. All about how there's a great mystery and our protagonist has to sort through all the clues and find the next clue and then the next clue just to unlock the secret about a secret society. You know what one of the weirdest things is? You know who our protagonist in solving this subplot is? The villain! Yeah, we're watching Lex solve through these mysteries and discover about the secret society his father and all these characters had set up, and that's another weird thing.
Not only does it, as part of the course for a Smallville Effect episode, take our characters and use them merely as props, it actually insults the memory of some good characters.
Is that Robert Queen talking, or is that Virgil Swan? You're sounding more like him every day.
Dr. Swan was supposed to be a good, noble man who just wanted to learn about a life from another world that had come to Earth. But instead, he hooked up with people he knew were evil, amoral, corrupt, but wealthy, so that he could arrange for all this. And of course, they took the time to put all these secret clues together just to lead the way to the next clue, which would eventually lead the way to this sphere of genetic samples of everyone from Kandor. What? How did Swan... What? What? Who? What? How? Pumpkin? What?
This was the era of the box set, when shows were serialized because people were expected to watch them more than once.
And yet this stuff does not hang together if you think it through past the initial viewing. That's if it hung together on the first viewing, for that matter. The Veritas Society subplot. The low point of a low season. So that's our top 10 of the worst Smallville Effect episodes. Wait, what about Collateral, the Matrix ripoff from last time? Well, we covered that last time. We don't need to bring this up. Same thing with the Three's Company ripoff a few years ago. And there are plenty more Smallville Effect episodes. By all means, put them in the comments down there and share some thoughts about what you guys remember from this show. As for me, I think I'm going to go back to Enterprise. A really bad one. I think it's time to go to the bottom of the barrel of Enterprise. And we're going to do it over the course of one night.